sit right here. I'm going to be the rose between all these thorns. Get it? Rose between all these thorns. That's a little joke I like to use. So anyways, second grade. What do you like about second grade? What's your favorite?
It's really fun.
Is it really fun? Like, what's so fun about second grade? You gotta have something. You can't just say fun. You gotta be a little specific.
Because we learned about number chains.
Number chains?
Equation chains.
Oh, equation chains?
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty big word. What's an equation?
It's numbers.
Is it numbers? Anybody else? Tell me what's just numbers? So is number one an equation?
No.
I don't think so. So what it might
1
be?
plus 2 equals 3.
Oh, so is that an equation? So what would we say? What is a number? What is an equation?
It doesn't
I'm in shaky ground now.
like a plus or minus.
Yeah. What could
You
be?
have an equal sign.
Okay.
It can't be.
Do you have to have an equal sign?
Yeah, or it's not an equation.
Or it's not an equation?
Yeah.
What if I said, because here's what I was thinking as I'm putting it into my own words, a number sentence. Is that an equation? Have you ever heard that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so could that be a definition of equation is a number sentence?
Yeah.
And a number sentence is, give me a number sentence. Anyone, just make one up. Make up an equation or a number sentence.
9 plus 9.
Equals, right?
18.
Right. Is that the equation?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys are so smart. So you did learn something in second grade.
Yeah.
Get something in here. Okay. All right. So do you know why you're here?
No.
They didn't tell you?
Kind of.
Did they tell you the smartest, most handsomest man was coming to visit you?
No.
Did they tell you that? How come they leave that stuff out, do you think? All right. We're going to do a little writing today. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. Did we get some paper? Or are we
Yeah,
getting
it's
some?
coming.
Okay, is it
Mrs.
coming?
Jensen's
Oh,
okay
okay.
with it.
I was a little nervous because I was thinking, how are we going to do some writing if we don't have any paper? I guess I could do some writing.
You
Right.
got chalk.
I've got chalk. All right. So here's what I want to find out from you. So when you're writing, what do you always need to do when you're writing? What are some things you always need to do?
You
Yes.
start out with an uppercase letter.
Okay. So you always have to start out with an uppercase letter.
And
Can you sometimes not?
no.
No what?
No, because
No, you always have to start with an uppercase letter? Okay. So that's one thing you always have to do is start, and all of you start out with an uppercase letter, right? Always.
Yeah.
None of you ever start out with a lowercase letter?
no.
All right. What else is something that you have to do? Yes? Always.
Period.
It has to have a period. So a sentence always has to have a capital letter and a period, right?
Or a question mark.
Or a question mark, or an exclamation mark. How about this? Then how many sentences do you have to have in your piece of writing?
How much you want.
Really?
Yeah, but more than like 6.
You think
More
so?
than just one sentence.
Mm.
definitely.
Well, what would it be like if you had to have a certain number of sentences? What do you think about that?
And you only had a small piece of paper.
Okay. What else is always has? So you have to have sentences, you have to have capitals, you have to have periods or exclamation marks and things like that. What else do you always have to have in your writing? No, I'm the keeper. I'm the keeper of the stuff right now. What else do you always have to have? So you have to have sentences, right?
Yeah.
And under sentences, what could I write underneath sentences that go along with a sentence? You already told me.
Period.
A period,
A question mark or an
or yeah,
exclamation
so
mark.
punctuation. If I said punctuation, what's punctuation?
A question mark.
A question mark, a period, exclamation mark. So under sentence, you have to have punctuation, you have to have what else? You already told me, yes?
Question mark.
Well, that goes under punctuation, right? Question mark, I'll do this.
Space.
Okay, you do have to have spaces in your sentences, yeah? And you said this, capital letters, right? All right, so what else do you have to have in your writing? How about this?
Yeah. 3-part plan.
A 3-part plan, what does that mean?
You have to have a plan.
Yeah, but a 3-part. Yes, you have to have a beginning, middle, end. Can you ever write something that doesn't have a three-part plan?
No.
No. Every single time you write, you have to plan for what? Oh, I'm kind of writing a little messy.
Beginning, middle, and end.
Okay, so you have to have sentences. You have to have a three-part plan. What else do you always have to have when you're writing? What?
Pictures?
All right. Yeah. Are your pictures going to be part of that plan?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Speed bubbles.
Oh, you got to have speech bubbles in there. That's exactly right. So you have to have speech bubbles. What else do you have to have? You have to have speech bubbles. What else goes in the story? You have to have speech bubbles.
What happened?
You have to have what happened.
When did it happen?
All right. So you have to. Okay. So you have to have
Who was there?
and who was there, when,
Where
and
did it
who.
happen?
All right. So we have to have who, when, what. Right? We have to have speech bubbles. We have to have a three-part plan. We have to begin, middle, end. And we have to have sentences. I'm trying to wonder how many sentences do you think we need to have, though? I think we need to know a number of sentences.
3.
You think 3?
4. 6. 5.
Hmm.
7.
Hmm.
8. 9.
I think we're just guessing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering about if we had something in the middle. How about if we had like 2 sentences for the beginning, 2 for the middle, and 2 for the end?
That what I was
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking? So what do you think about that?
6
2
sentences.
for the beginning. Is that 6?
Yeah.
What do you think about writing 6 sentences?
Yeah.
Is that something that you can do? All right. Well, let's think about this. And we're going to start writing a story. Do any of you have a story that you already know that you could be writing about right now?
No.
Yeah?
Not really, no.
I've got. Can I tell you what I was thinking about?
Yeah.
A story. This is sometimes where I get my stories from. At lunchtime, I went out to get a tea. Right? And when I went to tea, I went to a store. And as soon as I stepped into the store, I was totally grossed out.
What? What?
There were a ton of flies in the store I went.
Ow.
So what is that feeling, being grossed out?
Weird.
It was strange, it was weird. What else is it if you're
Disgust.
grossed out? Say it again.
Disgust.
Disgusting. Right, I was disgusted, right? Yeah. So and I was thought, oh, I could write about that story, about being disgusted, right? Mhm. So where do you get your stories to write from?
I just think.
You just think?
Of times like my brother's birthday.
Mhm.
Brainstorm.
Okay. So what do you,
Brainstorm.
yeah. So what do you think you could be writing about right now? Have you ever been disgusted?
Not happy.
Oh, when you were happy? When were you happy?
When my grandma got home from her work and brought an animal home with her.
Okay.
When my brother's
All right, so when we think about that, so when your grandmother brought home a pet, when you think about a 3-part plan, right, a beginning, middle, and end, and that's the happy part, right? Where's that going to go, in the beginning, the middle, or the end?
It's gonna start at the beginning.
Well, I'm thinking if that's the happiest part, what do other people think?
The end.
You think the end? I think it's going to be in the middle. Yeah, I think the happy part is when she brings that animal home, right? And and you're kind of how are you feeling?
Because first I'm playing outside with my friend.
Oh, okay. So you know what you just talked about? What is she going to put in the beginning? What?
Playing with her friends.
Playing with her friends, right? All of a sudden, who comes up?
My grandma.
And then what does she put in the middle?
She brought home a pet. She brought home a pet.
How you feeling there?
Good.
And then what could your ending be?
It could
What did you do? What kind of an animal was it?
be a guinea pig.
A guinea pig. So what did you do with the guinea pig after your grandmother brought it home and surprised you?
It ran in a race car.
Did she put it in play? Did you get to play with it at all?
It's a real one.
Yeah, I know. Did you get to play with them?
Not really.
All
It's
right.
still a little bit new.
He's still a little bit new. So anyway, she could be surprised when the grandmother brought it home. She was playing outside. The grandmother brings that surprise home, and the end. You know, did you watch him in the cage?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Actually kind of watched.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about my story. Where's my disgusted part gonna be? The beginning, middle, or end?
Flies.
The middle. And I'm gonna be looking in there, and I'm gonna go in the story, and I'm gonna go like this. Looking at what?
The flies.
All the flies. What am I gonna put in my beginning?
Walking through the store.
Yeah, walking in the store. What's probably in my face?
Flies.
No, I haven't gotten there. But what kind of look is on my face?
Happy.
A happy look, right? I'm gonna have a happy look. And in my beginning, I'm gonna be kind of a grossed out look on my face, and I'm gonna show those flies flying around. And at the end, I'm trying to think what I would say. Oh, I know. Do you know what I wanted to get with my tea?
What?
I wanted to get a cookie. But when I saw the flies, you know what I thought to myself? I'm gonna put a little thinking bubble. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna get a cookie here. Why was I thinking that? Yes.
Because the flies might eat it.
Because of all the flies. So that's mine. So who else has? She's got a happy story. I've got a disgusted story. What about you? Who else has another story? Where do your stories come from? Yes. What do you think?
I was traveling to Rivaska in car.
Say it again.
Rivaska. I can't say it.
Yeah, if it helps.
Alaska.
Nebraska or Alaska?
Rivaska.
Nebraska.
You went there? What did you do there? That's not very exciting.
Visit my grandmother
You went to visit your grandmother?
and go to Evan Punch. It was fun there.
Go, where'd you go?
Evan Punch. It was the Hamlet's pool.
How was the humongous pool? Do you want to write about that? That would be pretty good. So where's that going to go? What did you do there?
Playing the pool, and there's too many pools.
There's what?
Too many pools.
Are there different pools there?
Yeah, and the Hamlet was one with a basketball water one.
And which one did you like the best? The big one? All right, you're gonna write about that. So what did you do?
I got inside the floor thing, and then I went out to see swimming.
All right, so what are you gonna put in the middle? Because that's where you're gonna put the exciting part, right? Was in the middle. What are you gonna put in the middle?
Go on the 2 slides.
Okay, so are you going down?
Yeah.
Okay, so what kind of a look do you have on your face when you're going down, do you think? Okay, so that's the middle. What happened just before that? What were you doing just before that? Were you climbing up the ladder?
Yeah.
Were you nervous at all?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. How are you gonna show that you were nervous?
I was like,
Okay, and then what happened at the end? What are you gonna put at the end? You're doing your 3-part plan. What are you gonna put at the end?
going home to grandma's.
Well, what I think before you go home, what happened when you got down to the bottom of the slide? What, how are you feeling then?
Happy.
Were you pretty proud of yourself for doing that? I think so too. How are you gonna show proud? Like that? What were you thinking? How you did it?
Yeah.
Okay, I love it. All right, so you got your story, Who's got those stories? Do you have stories? What are you gonna write about today?
My brother's birthday.
Your brother's birthday. What was it? What was the best part of that?
When we went to the bowling alley.
Okay, so what you know, we're gonna do our middle first, right? So what part are you gonna put in the middle?
When we got to bowl.
When you got to bowl, when you were up, so you're bowling, what happened when you were bowling in the middle? Did you-
My brother got more points than me because he
All right.
got like 3 strikes.
He did? So how are we gonna show that? What are we gonna put in the middle? We have to think about the beginning, the middle, or the end. What are we gonna be thinking about? What's gonna be in the middle? What was the most exciting part?
When
How about you and your brother in there in the bowling? Uh-huh. Okay. And what are you gonna be, what are you gonna be, who's gonna be up bowling? Your brother?
yeah.
All right. Does he call it, he's got a strike? And what's gonna be the speech bubble there?
Yay.
I think so, right? Knocking the fence down. So what are you gonna do before that? What are you gonna show before that in the beginning?
Us driving in the car.
Well, I think you could show something right in the bowling alley. Just before you got the strike, what was going on? Were you up?
No, he was always up first.
He was up, but he's up in the first, but you're up in the beginning. Did you get a strike?
Kind of.
Kind of?
Yeah.
All right. And
Just
then,
one pin left.
oh, just one pin. Okay, so you're gonna show one pin. You're gonna show them all knocked down the middle, and what's gonna be your end? Your brother doing what?
Going to the arcade.
Well, your brother, I think his hands are up in the air and he's saying, I won. What do you think? Is that okay? All right, I love it. What's your story gonna be?
Well, when I got my DS.
When you got your DS,
Yeah.
when'd you get that? What'd you get it for?
Well,
Was there occasion for getting that DS?
No, but my cousin came and gave it to me.
Oh, that was pretty good. So he gave it to you. Did you know you were gonna get this?
No.
Oh, so it was kind of a surprise?
Yeah.
All right, where's that gonna go? The beginning, middle, or end? The surprise part? When you actually got it? Beginning, middle, or end?
No.
The middle, I think. Who's gonna be in the middle?
Me and my cousin.
And what's your cousin gonna be giving you?
My DS.
And what look is gonna be on your face?
Happy.
Really, it's probably a really surprise look. What's gonna happen just before that in the beginning? What were you doing before he came?
Playing.
You were playing, and then he came, and then what are you gonna put at the end?
When we played.
Yeah, when you played it, I think so. You're the last one. What's the story? You have a story?
From my birthday party.
Yeah, what was the best part of your birthday party?
The arcade.
The arcade? What was your
Yeah.
favorite part of the arcade?
There's lots of games.
What's your favorite? I wanna know what your favorite one was. Remember?
It's like
Remember?
arcade game.
The what?
Trying to knock down spaceships.
All right, so you're gonna show that? In there, it's not gonna be how'd you do? Were you doing okay? Did you like it? All right, so you're gonna draw a picture of that. What happened, what were you doing just before that?
Bowling.
You were bowling? So, okay, so I'm trying to think about, what the best part of that story is gonna be. What did you have to do with those flying pigs?
Try to knock down all the spaceships.
Did you think before you started that maybe you couldn't do it? Did you think you were gonna win? So maybe that's what you're gonna do, show a picture of you in the beginning, and what are you gonna be thinking about? What might be your thinking bubble?
Winning.
Can I do it? Can I win? And then what are you gonna show in the middle? The action.
Playing the game.
And what are you gonna show at the end?
Not winning.
You didn't win? Oh, okay. I think that's a good thing. So I want you to start doing your BMEs. I love that you're doing your BMEs. And maybe everybody's gonna start doing their middle part first, right? About the most exciting or the most scary or whatever, right? And then you can do what happened just before and just what happened. I'm gonna do that too. I'm gonna do my story right now too. And then we'll look and see, we'll share our stories. Make sure you're putting labels in your picture too. Is that something we need to put on our list? Are you supposed to label your pictures? So can I put that up here too? I'm gonna put like this over here. I'm gonna put labels. What are labels? What are labels? Yes?
Like, labels are when you're labeling the name.
Yeah, so if I have a picture of me, what's my label gonna be?
Your name.
Nope.
You.
Well, I'm gonna label it, how about this, me, right? All right, and if you have somebody else, you're gonna label them with their name, right? So look at, this is a picture of me, so I'm gonna label it, what did I write?
Me.
Me, all right, so anyways. And this is how you know it's me. Do I have a lot of hair, a little hair?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, maybe I should put my eyes going up like this, maybe. else have their second part, their second picture done, the second sketch done?
Yeah.
Alright. We gotta get our plan down pretty quickly, right? Alright. Everybody kind of getting ready for their doing their third picture. Alright. And remember, so you gotta think about your labels. Everybody should make sure they have a few labels in there in your speech bubbles. Remember, we have to have the who, what, when, the who, when, the what happened, the speech bubbles. We need to have labels, a 3-part plan, and we haven't gotten the sentences yet. We're not gonna worry about the sentences yet, but. Everybody gonna share out. And here's what I want you to think when you're done. I want you to think, what 2 sentences am I gonna use in the beginning? What 2 sentences am I gonna say in the middle? And what 2 sentences am I gonna say at the end? I just thought something I didn't see. I gotta label some more things here. Are you putting your labels on? I know if I'm thinking right here, so you can label some of the things. What's this thing right here? Yeah, so why don't you label that so we'll know what that is. All right. How are you doing? Got your labels going on? Okay, you ready to go over here and do your middle? Is that you being outside playing? And what's going to happen over here? Who's coming in the middle?
My grandma.
All right. How are you doing? You got some labels going here. What's this thing right here?
The points.
The points. Could you put that? Could you label that so we can see it? Or know what it is? All right. How are you doing over there? How are you doing? Okay. You got enough? You got all your labels going?
Yep.
Okay. I even see, what did you, I see that you even wrote how you were feeling in the beginning, didn't you? I put that too, I kind of put how I was feeling in the beginning too. And then you can tell by my face how I was feeling in the, all right, everybody gonna be ready to share in a few minutes? What you're gonna write? You don't have to write yet, but I want you to think, what are the 2 things you're gonna say in the beginning? What are the 2 things you're gonna say in the middle? Because how many sentences did we say that? How many sentences do we have to have for each part?
2.
Yeah, I think 2, 2, and 2, right? So you have to think, what 2 things am I gonna say in the beginning? What 2 things am I gonna say in the middle? What 2 things am I gonna say at the end? And then we'll be done. You can go. You know, but I don't want you to write, I just want you to think in your head. What are you gonna say? So look up right in your beginning. What 2 things are you gonna say? Can you think in your head? Mm-hmm. Are you ready to, are you gonna be thinking now? I want you to think. What 2 things are you gonna say in the beginning? What 2 things could you say here? And what 2 things could you say here? So tell me if this is you, where are you? Where are you? And what are you doing in the living room? What are you playing?
With a car.
Are you playing with the car? Where's the car? Oh, right there, okay. You're just playing by yourself. Could you write the word plane someplace right there so you can remember write the word plane? Okay, how are you doing? All right. Okay, so I want you to start thinking, what two things are you gonna say here? What two things you're gonna say here? What two things are you gonna say here? All right. Okay, so tell me, what do you have going on here? What's happening right here? Right here? What?
Drawing the street.
You're drawing the street? Okay, so is that where you're up high by the street? All right, I think that's okay. So what are you gonna put coming down the street? The car. It's Grandma? Why don't you make Grandma walking up and having something in her hand instead of the car? Okay, maybe she's walking up the street. All right, and then make sure yep. And you know what? Why don't you put a label here where it's, can you write the word street so your teacher will know that's the word, that's the street that you drew a picture of, just in case? All right, so everybody ready to start telling their story? You think you're gonna be able to tell your story? You're gonna be able to tell, you're gonna be able to say two things about this. What are you gonna say? That's one thing. I was playing in the living room with the car, that's one thing, but what else did you say? What else did you put in there? You were by yourself? Well, could you think, maybe you could put a thinking bubble in there. What could you be thinking when you're playing by yourself? I wish I had something to do. What do you think about that? Could you say, I wish I had something else to do, and then what's gonna happen? So that you can say that I was playing in the living room. Ready? You ready? All right, let's start to share right now. I know some of you aren't finished, but let's share and see what we have, and let's see if we can say two things about our piece. Who wants to start? Okay. So I want you to can you show us your picture and tell us what you're gonna say? All right, so what are you gonna say? What are two things you're gonna say? What are your two sentences gonna be?
I travel a long time. Each night we stop at a hotel.
Okay. Are you going to, what's that? One thing, you're driving a long way, you're gonna stop at a hotel, where are you going to?
Where everything is.
Is that Grandma, is on the way to Grandma's house?
Mm-hmm.
All right, all right. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you're traveling to the hotel, okay, so what are you gonna say? You're traveling to the hotel, what else are you gonna say?
We going towards every night.
All right, so you go swimming,
Yeah, indoor.
okay, so that's, and what are you gonna say in the middle?
We finally got there
You got where?
to Grandma's home.
Uh-huh, and that's one thing, what else could you say? Look at your picture, what else could you say?
It was whenever we got in, Lee was barking at the. I think it was 3 cats or 4 or 5.
Uh-huh, could you think you were excited to go to that big pool?
Yeah.
That's the second thing you could say there, right? That you arrived at Grandma's house and you were excited to go to that big pool. And then what are you gonna say at the last part?
I finally went in. I went on the 2 slides. One was the scariest. This one because I let go of my board for safely sliding, and this one was easy and nice.
And which one did you go on?
Huh?
Which one did you go on?
Both
You went on both of them, but I want you to pick one. Which one?
was the best.
The big one?
Yeah, this one was the best.
Okay. All right, good. All right, you gonna tell me your story? Do your two sentences.
One day, me and my brother were walking to a pool.
Okay, that's one thing. You gotta say
Me and
two.
Ryan were so excited to bowl.
All right, so that what you're gonna say in the beginning? You were going to the bowling alley, and you were very excited to bowl. Two things, right? What are you gonna say in your middle? Give me two things you're gonna say there.
My brother and me were bowling. Ryan made 3 strikes.
Okay, then tell me two things you're gonna say here at the end.
Ryan was so happy.
Ryan was so happy, that's one thing, and what about you?
I was happy too for him.
Okay, love that, thinking about that. All right, good. How about you? What are you gonna say in the beginning? Two things, and two things. Are you ready to tell yours? In a minute, let's say, I want you to be thinking that.
I was playing in the living room, and I wish I had something to do.
Okay, there was two things there, right? You were playing in the living room and you wish you had something to do. Tell me two things you're gonna say here.
And then my cousins arrived, and then one of my cousins gave me a DS.
Yeah, my cousin arrived, he gave me a DS. And what two things are you gonna say here at the end?
We played on the DS, and he showed me how to play on it.
All right, he showed me how to play on the DS, right? And what's the other thing? Did you have a good time?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, there's two things you can say. What are you gonna say, sir? Tell me about your beginning and tell me the two things you're gonna say.
I like going a haircut.
So you like to bowl? Right, and what did you do?
I was knocking down.
I was knocking down pins, right? Then what happened?
I wanted to play a game
Mhm.
because I would win 300 tickets.
Oh, okay. And what are you gonna say at the end?
I was sad because I lost.
That's one thing. What else could you say? You were sad because you lost, and what else?
I didn't get 300 tickets.
You didn't get the 300 tickets. I love that. Okay, so you tell me what's your beginning, and then tell me two things you're gonna say in your beginning and two things you're gonna say in your middle.
Well, I was happy when my grandma came home.
Well, is that what happened when she came home, or is that happening here in your middle? What were you doing here? Look at right here. Who do you have here?
Watching my grandma come down with it.
But who's this right here?
She's my friend.
And what are you doing?
Saying hi to my grandma.
Where's
She
your-
comes down the hill.
But well, your grandma's not there yet. What are you doing right there in the beginning? Because where's your grandma gonna come in? Is she gonna come in the middle? So what are you gonna say? What are you gonna say in the beginning? What were you in? What's your name?
It was me and Kaylee.
And what were you and Kaylee doing in the beginning?
We were talking about her birthday because her birthday was coming.
All right, Kaylee and I were talking about our birthday. That's one thing. What else could you say? First of all, you and Kaylee were outside, right? That's one thing. And then what you
In her driveway.
in her driveway?
Is
What were you talking about?
We were talking about her birthday.
All right. What are you gonna say in the middle?
And then I saw my grandma come down and say hi.
And then what's your second sentence gonna be?
And then my friend Kaylee,
Well, what did Grandma bring?
and then that's the time she brought the guinea pig home.
That's when she brought that's when she surprised you with that guinea pig. And what two things are you gonna say at the end? Remember, what did you do with the guinea pig? I want you to think about the guinea pig. Grandma put the guinea pig in the cage.
Put the guinea pig in the cage and then
What did you and Kaylee do?
me and Kaylee. Well, she didn't let me on my house, so I started telling her about it.
Okay, so you're gonna put the cage up there with the guinea pig, and then you're gonna be telling Kaylee about the guinea pig. I love it. So they're gonna put the guinea pig in the cage, and you were telling Kaylee about the guinea pig. All right. So you know what you're gonna be writing when you write this later. All right. I think I'm all done with you. I'm gonna talk to the teachers right now. Good job on that, guys. So tell me, when you're done, how many capital letters are you gonna have, and how many periods or punctuation are you gonna have?
Oh, 3.
Remember, you have to have 2, 2, and 2.
6.
You're gonna have 6 capital letters, and how many ending marks are you gonna have?
6.
How many capital letters and ending marks are you gonna have with your beginning,
2.
with your middle,
2.
with your end,
2.
for a total of,
6.
give me an equation.
2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6.
Oh, my word, you are smart. I thought I would trick you with that one. All right, tell me what's the definition of equation?
Over the
A sentence.
What kind of
equation. A number
Number
Oh,
sentence.
my word, see you later. Smarty pants. You can go. I'm done with you. All right. Take your story, you can work on that tomorrow, right? You guys were very good, thank you very much. Oh yeah, I'll take your pencils. All right, you were very good. They're clapping for me. They were delightful. But a few little glitches up there, right? You know, so I saw one. I should have been up there moving around a little bit because the pool didn't make it up into the beginning. I mean, into the middle, right? But what are some thoughts that you saw going on up there, right? What did you see happening? Although not perfect, what did you see going on?
I think once we set the expectation that they were able to.
Yeah. To be honest with you, even though it's not quality writing right now, I mean, because it's the beginning of the year, I don't know these kids and whatever, but I'm still going to have the expectation, you know, that they can have a 3-part plan, you know, that they're going to have 2 sentences for each one, and I'm going to get them to count their capital letters, and I'm going to get them every time to count their periods, every single time they write. What do you think about this?
I like the structure. The
Uh-huh.
structure's good for them.
Yeah.
It keeps coming back to that.
I think it does come back. It comes back to having expectations that you can, you know, hang your hat on. That's that structure, right, that the kids need to know. I mean, interesting enough. Now, do I want stilted writing? I thought it was interesting because originally I said, how many sentences do you have to have? And they, you know, it was like, you know, 1, 4, 6, 8. It didn't matter. I'm like, nope. I want 2, 2, and 2. I guess and again, you know, they're probably not going to be the best sentences right now, or it's not going to be the best writing, but I'm still going to get 2 sentences, I think, from each one of those kids, right? However, but what do you?
I like that you have them tell you the 2 things about their picture before they wrote that.
Yes.
I think that helps them get their thoughts
Yep.
together as well, and if they said something that was off on a tangent, you
Yeah.
brought them back in.
Yep. Yep. And I think they do. I think
the
you
one
just saw.
that was writing about grandma, she was going to write about grandma right away.
She was all over
Grandma
the place,
was-
and I'm like, no, where did Grandma come in? Grandma came in there, right? And her picture wasn't there, right? But we need to get Grandma in there. And then the labeling, that was another thing that I slid in there too, is that I want labeling in there. So label street, label play, label this stuff, right?
I think it's almost, at this point, I feel the same way, it's modeling with their story.
Yep. And I'm looking to see, can I recognize it, you know, right there, when she was drawing her streets, she must live on a cul-de-sac or something, because I'm like, well, let's write down that that's a street, so your teacher will know that's a street. You know?
I think with her, when you told everyone to do it in the start in the middle, she wasn't comfortable with that.
Uh-huh.
Or
Some of the
wasn't
kids
singing.
weren't, some of the kids
Right.
weren't comfortable with that.
Right.
But I was trying to get that small moment a little bit, you know, and they weren't comfortable with it. So, I don't know, what do you think about it? It certainly isn't a perfect lesson, but I guess I'm trying to think about, you know, it's kind of like what you were talking about, that, you know, putting those structures in place, you know, very early on with kids so that, you know,
See better the small group thing.
Yeah.
I was looking at you for that.
Okay.
This time.
okay,
So, what does that look like?
Okay.
What do I need to do?
yeah,
And how many can you do at one time?
yeah,
I don't know, she's gone now, what level?
uh-huh.
How did you feel with the different levels?
I thought they were kind of similar. I was wondering, I was wondering about a couple, I was wondering about her.
I think she said 3 were in the top group and 2
Okay.
were in
Well,
the
I think
middle.
she shifted, or last
She did,
time.
okay.
I think here she is right now. Where were those kids?
Middle.
They were in middle, because you didn't give us any high, right, or
No.
whatever, right? So, so anyways, but here's the interesting thing. When you saw me writing, I was writing mine because I thought I would, might want to show them what it looked like. But I could have had them up here, and I could have been walking around doing other kids and doing other things. I would not have had to have sit up here to stay up here, right? So getting those kids going, coming back to check on them, touch base with them. But I'm going to be out there doing. I don't think I would have needed to sit up here with those kids. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I liked how you, when they were telling, how you helped them verbalize
Yeah.
what they were saying. And then sometimes when, like the little boy that was sitting right by you, he was kind of doing those and then,
I know.
and you separated them into two sentences.
Because I was
helped
thinking
him
he's gonna
verbalize
get
it.
in trouble, and I might have even said if he was my own, I had a better relationship. I said, honey, I don't want you saying and then.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be really explicit. I didn't want to do that right
So
now.
you
but
just
I
said it
just-
in the correct way.
So you're gonna say this, and you're gonna say this,
Yeah.
and this, right? Yep. Because those and thens will kill you, right? Those kids, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Now, when are these kids gonna finish the story?
This could take a week, right, to do. I mean, it's gonna be the planning piece, and then it's gonna take 2 or 3 days to get the writing piece done, then whatever is in there. But I'm comfortable with a week's period of time, right? And setting up that kind of, a structure to have, a writing over a week's period of time. But I guess I'm just trying to think about this idea of proficiency. So let's talk about the comfort level that you had as the teacher with these kiddos. What were some of your thoughts?
They're taking in what I'm teaching them.
Good. Did you like it? Were you feeling good about
Yes,
that?
yeah.
Okay.
I was like,
good for
yes,
you.
they're taking in the green card.
I love that. That was so good. That's exactly right. But what did you think about, kind of setting some of these things right up there for these kids to say, this is what, were you comfortable with that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Were you comfortable with, I just want to get a sense for her, because I don't know these kids, right? What do you think about that 2, 2, and 2? What do you think about?
For them, I thought that was perfect for them,
Okay.
for where they're at and what they need to keep
Okay.
them focused.
Yes, yeah. And it may be that we had to do more with, okay, so quickly tell me what 2 things are in your picture that are going to help you with that sentence, right? Because the little guy right here, he didn't have a lot going on, right? In there, I made him put a speech bubble so he'd have a second thing to, to say. But, it's making sure that they have 2 things that they could say in the beginning, 2 things they can say in the middle, and 2 things, right, that they could say. So, anything they weren't comfortable with, or what do you?
Yes, it took everything I had not to get up and fix John's grip on his pencil.
I wrote that down.
Did you?
John's script.
Well, isn't that funny?
Oh my
The
gosh.
king of grips, and I wasn't even looking at that this time, right? Because I'm all over grips, but I was not. I was, more interested in kind of what
I
they were
wanted to
doing.
say, pick up the baby, put it in the cradle.
Okay, all right.
Hello.
Well, good point. Good for you. That's exactly right. So, all right. So, what are your thoughts? Pretty much about what are your questions about small group, things like that, right? I wouldn't have had to sit up there. That's what I think I like about second grade or the start of second grade versus what I did the other day. You need to be there all the time. There's a lot of independence that could have been with those kids, right? I'm there to get them started. I talk about it, then I'm going to leave them and I'm going to go and do a few things, right? And just quickly, touching base to make sure that they have some of those things. But I thought they would have done fine. If I could have left and gone around and done some other things with kids there.
I liked how you pushed Ryan Lee along too, the girl on this side.
Yes.
Because she's kind of my detail.
Well, she was the one. I think I was beginning to say she was probably if I was worried about anybody, I was a little worried about her. She was the one. If you remember, I said how many sentences, and I think she said 1, 3. So she wanted. That's why I wasn't sure how she, where she was. But the other kids were, So anyways, and then when she was drawing, she wasn't putting things down that were going to help her really be able to tell a story, right? She wanted to say that, because originally I think she said she was playing with. She was playing with Kaylee, right? Then her grandmother came, but that's not what she had in the picture. That's not really where she was going, right? So she would have been probably my worrisome one out of the 3. What do you think about that? Would you agree or no?
Yes, I would agree.
Okay.
I can see you pulling like another group back, get this group going and say, and then pull in your next
Yep.
6 kids that
Yep.
needed some help
Yep.
and bring back yours, and so you can just check in with them as
Yep.
they were doing their plan and do that clarification once they have that clarification of what they were drawing.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna, once they have the structure, what I'm expecting, and if it's the same, similar structure for the different kids, I'm gonna be able to get them going really fast and move, and not get another group, right?
Group of low kids in
Yeah.
there and.
Yep. Yep, and that's why I think those structures are really helpful, because the kids can hang their hat on, if I have another group that's low, maybe I don't set 2, 2, and 2, maybe I set 1, 1, and 1, right? So. What are people thinking right now? What are some of the struggles, or when you're thinking about small group?
What are the rest of the kids doing?
Uh-huh. I think
Same old question.
yeah, well, but I have to put it back on you guys, because what do your kids do now? That's my, you know, I want to kind of push back. What do your kids do now when they have to work independently?
They talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody has anything they can tell me about their lovely children that they
Yeah.
talk to,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
A big, huge meanie at the first part of the year.
Yeah. But I guess I wonder, you know, I mean, let's talk about, so why are they talking? I mean, what are they doing centers? What are they doing?
Mine's working back at their own desk, but what I have them do is I have them partner talk. What are they gonna write about?
Yeah.
That way they can get it out
Yeah.
of their system and they
Yeah.
don't have to talk when.
I mean, a lot of times, you know, when kids are talking, I have to go like this, is this talking talk or is it whatever kind of, or is it writing talk, right? And it's always a reminder to them, you know, because I think, you know, kids probably, they do need to be talking, but the question is, what are they talking about, right? And so, you know, writing is about a time where they kind of should be talking and having, there should be a little hum going on in the classroom, right? Even though I constantly have to remind them, what kind of talking are you doing right now, right? You know, so, but I guess my question is, do you have some, you know, a couple of different scenarios could be happening. You could be having kids in centers, for example, and you could be pulling kids to do your writing with kids. That would be one scenario. Or it could be a writing block where just writing is going on, right? And that kids are, you know, are doing their writing and I'm calling up kids, you know, as we go. So I got this one group going, and I have another group that I'm probably gonna end up meeting with. So I strive to meet 2 groups a day during my writing blocks, right? So I can, you know, catch kids. But, you know, again, I'm gonna go back to the structure of your writing block. What structure do you have within your writing block? Do you have that, you know, I'm gonna model and then here's what my kids are all doing and then I'm gonna, you know, roll around, right?
That's it.
And I have privacy folders saying, you know, they can talk before they go back to their seats.
Yeah.
They get their seats to get
Yeah.
out privacy folders, they know they can
Yeah.
talk instead.
But I think part of what needs to happen is that you need to have something in place that the kids are doing. What's the expectation for them doing, right? Are they at centers? Are they doing things at their desk? What is it that they're doing? And do the kids know what they're supposed to be doing? You know, and I think that's the thing that, you know, in the beginning of the year, I'm trying to get really clear is what are the expectations for what needs to happen in there? What level is too high of a talking? If you're sensitive with the noise level in there, you know, what are you doing in place to keep it down? I know some people, you know, put a radio on, a music, right, low. And if the teacher can't hear the music, you know, she says, boys and girls, I can't hear the music. It tells her that the noise level is too high. But again, I'm gonna come back. You're controlling the situation. How are you controlling the talk that's going on, right? What kind of talk? Have you even, you know, had kids talk about in second grade, what is talking talk? Boys, because I think we could have even had it with these kids, what's talking talk? And what is writing talk? What would, you know, and I bet you the kids could probably articulate, you know, when, you know, and basically I'm talking that's not going anywhere, plus, you know, what's math talk sound like, right? What does reading talk sound like? But having conversations with kids about these things, it's huge, you know. But, you know, part of it is, you know, is giving them what are the expectations, you know, because there's only one of you, there's 25 of them, and they have to have structures, as you point out, they have to have structures.
As we're talking, I have an idea of putting what's there, you know, like on a little card,
Mm-hmm.
laminated.
Yeah,
And if you keep track each time they get something done,
yeah,
you know, maybe something like that, even more structure
yeah,
within the
yeah.
structure. For me to come by, put a sticker or a star or something
Mm-hmm.
later, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're very sweet, but they are very talkative.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think your time frame would be a lot smaller too of what
Yes.
you were working in
Yes.
this group, because everything that you have up there would have been generated whole group.
It would have been.
Your story demonstration would have been generated whole group.
Yep.
And then you would have just pulled these kids. For example, on the first day of writing, I always had those kids that I knew had a hard time getting a topic. Because if I let them go, they would go for 3 days without writing anything. And so I would just let everybody else go back to their seats because they could start, but those 4 or 5 kids that were having a hard time getting a story started, those were the ones that I always had with me on day 1. You
Yeah.
know, day 2 were the ones that I knew needed a little bit more, you know, help with structure and things like
Yeah.
that, so.
Yeah. Who feels like they have a nice structure within their classroom to have, an independent working structure within their classrooms, you know? Do you? So what are the kids doing? What does that look like behind you? That's Patsy.
Maybe exactly what I said, when we start whole reverse and do what Jennifer said, we'll go over the meat and potatoes of it, and then I will pull back the ones that need a little bit more help, and the others, they put up their privacy folders after they, have their little talk with their neighbor, what they're gonna write about.
Yeah.
They go back and they get out the writing drills, they get started.
And I have no problem with this. I mean, part of it is like this. So if kids talking, and I have those privacy folders, I'm like this. Patsy, put up your privacy folder right now. It sounds like you're not focused enough
Right.
because she's talking.
We have a clip system in our classrooms, so they can move their clip up or down depending on their behavior.
Yeah.
And all I have to do is compliment one child and tell them to move their clip,
Yeah.
and the rest of them are gonna get
Yeah.
back to task because they want that clip on my
Right.
lanyard by the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing how powerful it is.
It is. And I just feel like there needs to be strong structures in order to pull kids and have small group that, and kids need to know what that,
And we're
what the.
practicing that right now, I was telling you earlier, we're doing
Yeah.
that 21-day plan right now, so
Yeah.
they're getting used to being more independent.
Yeah. But I think, I feel like when I wasn't explicit enough with kids and, this is what it's supposed to look like, this is my expectation, I think when I've said that, my year's gone much better, right? And kids will live up to,
And it helps me because I have most of them that I had last year, so they already know what
Yeah.
pushes my buttons per se,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and what to do to make sure they're
Yeah. Yeah.
they know my expectations.
I don't pretend that this is the easy part at all, right? But if you don't have a structure within your classroom, to function, pulling small groups is near impossible, right? To be able to do that, right? So it really is about having a structure. So we talked about what does your literacy block look like that you can pull your writing groups, or then if not a literacy, piece where reading and writing are happening together, then what's your writing block look like? And what do you have kids doing so that you can pull small groups, right? So, it's those are the two choices I see, right? That you have a literacy block where reading and writing are happening and the kids are doing things, right? You're pulling your reading, which is kind of what I did in the classroom, which was I had a literacy block, and that, I pulled 2 reading groups, I pulled 2 writing groups. I tried to do that each day during that time, right? And if I didn't get to one group, I made sure I pulled them the next day, but I was constantly, during that time, making sure I pulled a group, then I would go out and rove, right? And, and then come back, pull another group, then go back and rove again, right? So for me, it was in and out while they were doing that, right? But, yeah.
And I could see it being important to have a plan of if the kids don't know how to spell a word.
Yes.
Or, so they have those resources to
Yep.
go to.
Yeah.
Because I can see a lot of little heads, how do you spell this? Or,
Yeah.
and that would pull you away from the small group.
Yeah.
So teaching those structures of what
Yeah.
to do if you need some help.
Well, I love it, but I totally agree. That's like the talking thing, right? You can't have that. You can't have the talking too loud, right? You can't have them asking that question. So what supports are in place that they need to be able to go within the classroom to figure out what to do? What resources do they need to have, right? They need to have certain things. They need to have a sight word place, right, where they can go to get their sight words. They need to go, and that needs to be part of the room.
We have district spell checks, that's covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but I think Dorothy's making a good point, right? Because that's little things like that, the noise level or those questions that sidetrack us, right, as teachers, right? Because I don't think our kids we're developing that risk-taking piece enough where kids are trying to sound spell, or do they know that if which words they have to spell correctly, and I need to go here versus which words are sounding out words, right? And,
Well, and also not to get stuck right
yes,
there.
Yes.
And then not write anything else.
That's exactly right. That's right. That's right. You're not waiting for me. What are you going to be able to do, right, to help yourself out of this point? So is that the 21-day kind of planning thing that you're talking about, which is getting these kids up and functioning?
Yeah, it's working independently and finding out.
Yeah.
And in my
Where
classroom,
stations
they
are.
know that I will not spell anything for you.
Yeah.
That way I can start, because I don't want them waiting for me for 5 minutes and, I will not spell for them at all. They know that.
Yeah.
But I do tell them, try your very, very best, and if it's not spelled right,
Yeah.
it's not the end of the world. It's okay. Life
Yeah.
will go on, and we'll
Yeah.
keep on moving.
Yeah.
So they know they can make mistakes, and they'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's probably the hardest part of teaching, right, is getting these kids functioning without you, right? And what's that look like? All right. Thoughts? Other thoughts about this? See, this time I had too much time. Right?
Oh, that's all right. I have something else besides the eval.
Let's trying to find that balance between doing too much and doing too little.
So here we go, we have the BME.
Yes,
Will that ever change, or we keep it that same thing throughout second grade? The graphic organizer wise?
yeah,
Halfway through, we.
halfway through. For me, they need to start having different graphic organizers towards the end of the year, the second half of the year. So it's that for me, it would be like a BMME would be the beginning of the year, right, to get along. We're doing the BME right now, to get the kids, off and running. But then I want them to do a BMME, right, and then it's going to be an introduction of different graphic organizers. That's in the best of all worlds. Right now, it may be you want to keep that structure going all year, but I think you need to be thinking about giving them some different kind of graphic organizers towards the end of the year. But as far as I'm concerned, you're going to have that BME forever. No.
And are we going to be meeting with you again, or?
It's either gonna be in December or January, and Kim and I have to work that out, which is gonna be primary and which is gonna be intermediate. So it's either gonna be right before the break or right after the break.
Gotcha, okay.
What are some of the other kind of questions? Yes, my dear.
So we're doing personal narrative now, and then, so how long do we do personal narrative?
Yeah.
And then do we start switching to maybe realistic fiction, or?
Yeah, well, no, my feeling is that you're gonna go to opinion or informational. Have you talked about that at all, what that looks like? Okay, so one of the things that I'll probably talk to you next time about is this idea of, let's looking at, some of your science units, and let's talk about what writing looks like so that you can start, getting in and stealing some time from science.
Letter writing?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
we're not really moving into informational till December-ish?
You can
You
earlier.
can, I think you could do some on your own, but as far as the instruction for me, I want you to think about doing some informational writing, but just know that we're gonna be talking about informational writing coming up, right? So, but feel free to go and do it, don't wait.
We had kind of talked about that last year, that there's
Yeah.
times within our curriculum
Yeah.
that it's really
Yeah.
beneficial to be doing
Yeah,
information.
just know that we're gonna talk about it, and, you might have to tweak a few things here and there, right? But I would not wait, don't wait.